Radha Kanta Namastute, Radha Rapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranami Hari Priye, Vancha Kalpatarubhesha, Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha, Patitanam Bhavanebhayo, Vaishnaverbhayo, Namo Namah, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya, Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Pashtatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So Krishna in this chapter, Yoga of the Supreme Person. So one who is connected with the Supreme in yoga. And what is yoga? Is through the process of performing devotional service. So he can very easily be liberated, or he can be freed from the material existence. He can go to the spiritual world and enjoy constant association with the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada says, very powerful purport in the 6th verse, he was saying, he becomes liberated and then there is no chance of his coming back. In his conditioned life, the living entity considers himself to be the Lord of this material world, but in his liberated state, he enters into the spiritual kingdom and becomes an associate of the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada is inviting all of us, Krishna is inviting all of us to go to the spiritual kingdom and not just be in the spiritual kingdom, be an associate of the Lord, participate in his pastime, in his Leela. There he enjoys eternal bliss, eternal life, and full of knowledge. How to do that, how to practice that, is to be in Dham. We should always aspire to be in Dham, because this is what we will do in Dham. Nothing else. And Prabhupada said that one should be captivated by this information. He should desire to transfer himself to the eternal word and extricate himself from this false reflection of reality. What is the reason why he is not able to do that? That is what we discuss in the 7th verse. It talks about the transmigration. The transmigration of the living entity. One who is not liberated, he will only be forced to transmigrate. Is to give up one body and forced to accept another body according to the fruitive activities or karma that he has performed. And he is struggling very hard in this material existence. Some commentaries I want to share. One moment. Okay, someone can read. Can you see the screen? No.
Yes, Prabhuji.
If If you can see, then read.
So this Sanatan term is very important. The living entity is Sanatan, and God is Sanatan, and the spiritual world is Sanatan. And the process by which your lust relationship with God established and you go back to home, back to Godhead, that is called Sanatan Dharma.
1 minute. This is Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma means that one performs those activities, or he performs that kind of worship which can enable him to revive his relationship and return home back to Godhead. So Bhagavad Gītā is spoken for this purpose only. That is the only purpose of Bhagavad Gītā Krishna spoke. Okay, good.
Sanatan Dharma, that is our eternal relationship with God, and there is a place. So the system which makes these two Sanatan, God and the living entity, meet again, and they go back to enjoy life in the spiritual world. That system is called Sanatan Dharma.
So very artistically Srila Prabhupada is expressing it. Some more?
Therefore, Sanatan Dharma is not meant for any particular class or particular country.
Sorry. I don't know why it's not. 1 second. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Lead the last. Yeah.
Therefore, Sanatan Dharma is not meant for any particular class or particular country or particular nation or community. No, it is meant for the whole human being, especially human being.
Yeah. So we see Krishna consciousness, it is cutting across all countries, all religions, and all caste system, because this is for everyone. And one who does not accept the proposal of the Lord, what he has to do, he has to have a very, very strong struggle. And in struggle, there is no success. And this we have covered. Okay. Someone else can read.
Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Because we are part and parcel of God, so why the part and parcels are there? Why my hand is there?
Do we understand what is part and what is parcel? So many times Prabhupada mentions that the living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Is this conception or understanding clear? What does part mean and what does parcel mean? Why it is only mentioned as part and parcel? Why not only part, or why not parcel? Why Prabhupada uses both the terms parts and parcel? Are we clear on this? Someone would like to share? What does part mean and what does parcel mean, and why both are mentioned? Why not one? Pradeep Prabhu? Why Prabhupada always refers as part and parcel?
As a part, we are individual.
Very good.
Yes. So we will. So super soul is belongs to us, but the Supreme Lord is infinite.
Mhm.
So quantitatively we are not. Qualitatively we are same, but quantitatively we are not
That's
equal
true.
with the.
But why this term part and parcel is only being used to represent our connection with the Supreme Lord? Why not only part? Why not only parcel? And why only part and parcel? Why this term is being used as part and parcel? So many places we see Prabhupada mentioning that the living entity is part and parcel. The relationship is of the part and parcel. So what it means part and what it means parcel, and why both are used? Why not one? Or why not any other way it is being expressed? Why only part and parcel? Prana Prabhu, what is the understanding?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Living entities are
Hare Krishna.
independent, and they are
Independent?
independent, partial independence, and quality.
So how it means to that they are part?
But quantity.
If they are independent, then why the word part is being used? And why parcel is being used? If you have clear conception, say yes. Yeah, if you don't have, then don't speculate. It will not work. Nothing in Krishna consciousness based on speculation will work, ever. Have you read it or heard it?
Heard it, but not clear, Prabhuji.
Not clear? Okay. Kana, you raised your hand.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I think because this is my guess. Because we're called part because we're a fragment of his soul, and we're parcel. I don't know about parcel
You are fragment of the soul.
of his soul. Yes, Prabhuji.
No.
Part.
If that would be that we are fragment of his soul, then he would become cleavable. Sonika has raised her hand. Okay, Sonika.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danda Pranam. Prabhuji, the part term is used because we are, the soul is the part of Supreme Soul. It is coming from the Supreme Soul. So the part is using here, term is using here. And the parcel is used because we are away from Supreme. Means we have came here in the material world. That's why the parcel is used.
Did someone get a better clarity? Pranab, is it clear to you?
She's saying that we came here from
Repeat.
material world.
I am asking you, is it become clear to you, yes or no?
Not properly clear, Prabhuji. Need more
Okay,
clarification.
Okay. Dipankar? Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, as a part, we are not equal to the, in terms of quantity, the soul is not equal to the Supreme Lord. So it is part of the and in terms of parcel, it is having, the soul is having the same quality of the Supreme Lord.
Sure. Where is Dolamani Prabhu? You also raised your hand?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, part means that it has, like other devotee also told that the qualitatively it is equal to the Supreme Lord, but in quantity it is very minute. And second part is that parcel means, Prabhuji, that parcel means it has the relationship with the Supreme Lord. It has got that connection with the Supreme Lord. So that part is going.
For how many it has become clear? Kana, it has become clear to you?
Prabhuji, I don't know, but my audio isn't working very well, so I can't
No,
understand.
you are hearing.
Prabhuji,
For
my
whom
audio,
it has become?
I can't hear anything very nice.
Can't hear. So you adjust your microphone.
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm just trying to fix it.
Okay. See, Pradeep Prabhu started part means that is separate. Isn't it? Like we say spare part. What it means? It is not a machine. It is not a part of the machine. It comes and it works with the machine. Isn't it? Like I'm using the laptop. It has an adapter. What is an adapter? Is it a part of the laptop? No. It is separated part. But what is the utility of the adapter? That it works with the laptop. So part means it is separate. That means it has individuality which is distinct. Like Pradeep Prabhu started, but then he was in some different direction. So the living entity is part means that he has separate existence. Individuality is there. It can never merge. Like the machine part, which comes and fits in the machine, although it is fitted on the machine and it works with the machine, but it is distinct. So there is a bheda. There is a difference. There is part. It's not the same. That is why it is part. Second, but it is not just distinct or separate. It is partial. Partial means that which is integral. That cannot be separated. Isn't it? Partial means what? That it is intrinsic. So the relationship with the Supreme Lord of the Jiva is inseparable. It cannot be separated. Like we discussed yesterday also. Day before yesterday also. That Prabhupada is saying that the relationship is Sanatan. Jiva is also Sanatan, and the Supreme is also Sanatan, and its relationship is also Sanatan. And the spiritual abode is also Sanatan. And the dharma which revives the lost relationship is Sanatan dharma. So that which cannot be separated. Part is separate, but partial means which cannot be separated. So both exist together. It is bheda. As a part, it is bhed, it is different, it is distinguished. And as a partial, it is abheda. That there is no separation. So this is achintya bheda bheda tattva. And then what you all said, that it has similar qualities, but the quantity differs. So this is why Prabhupada always uses the phrase part and parcel. Okay. Is it clear now? Yes or no? किसको clear नहीं हुआ? क्या हुआ भाई? सुनाई दे रहा है नहीं दे रहा है?
Which is the second part, parcel part, that it is an integral part of the.
It is integral.
Integral.
Yeah.
So
Part means it is separate. It means it has distinct and individual identity. Not the same. What is the utility of the part? It is useless if it is not with the machine. What is the utility of the part? To serve the whole. Now, parcel means it is the connection is inseparable. Parcel means it is integral, that which cannot be separated. What is the difficulty in understanding this? Have you understood Kana? No? Can you hear? Is your audio working? Okay, I will move ahead. You people are not responding. Manish, move ahead.
Yes, Prabhuji. So why my hand is there? Because I require it. I require the assistance of my hand. I require the assistance of my finger. It is necessary. The rascal say, why God created us? Rascal, it is necessary because he is God. He wants your service. Just like big man, he keeps so many servants. If some rascal inquires why you are keeping so many servants, and because I am big man, I want. Simple philosophy. Similarly, if God is the supreme authority, then he must have so many assistants.
Prabhupada gives a very simple example to illustrate. And this is the last verse that we discussed yesterday. That how the living entity transmigrates from one body to the other body based on the subtle body. Like the air which carries away the aroma. So do we see the air? Does anybody see the air? Why? Because it is subtle. And do we see the aroma? We only smell it, we feel it. Air also we feel it. Similarly, the soul, he is carried away by the conception he carries, the conception that the mind carries. The mind carries the soul to another body according to the conception. So do we see the soul? Do we see the mind? Do we see the conception? Perfect analogy. What a perfect analogy Krishna is giving. So the living entity in this material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries an aroma. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. So he rotates perpetually in the cycle of birth and death. And this transmigration is so subtle that he is not able to comprehend it. But in every transfer, he has to struggle. And this is circled around the mind. The impressions are circled around the mind. So next verse, see. So Krishna is explaining the transmigration, that how the living entity leaves one body to take another body. Shotram, ninth verse. Shotram chakshu sparshanam cha rasanam grahanam cha adhisthaya manaschayam vishayanupasevate. So while giving up one set of senses, he acquires another set. In the other body, he gets new sets of senses. What he receives? Shotram. How do we hear? Through the ears. Chakshu. How do we see? Through the eyes. Sparshanam is through the skin. Rasanam grahanam evacha. And what is the pivot? What is the center? Adhisthaya. Manas chayam. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain types of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. You getting? So according to what he has desires, what are the impression or the conceptions in the mind, accordingly he will get the body. So that he gets the facility to be able to enjoy the sense objects for which he is desiring. In other words, if the living entity adulterates his consciousness, Prabhupada is heavy with qualities of cats and dogs. What is the quality of cats and dogs? What is the consciousness of cats and dogs?
Four things: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending.
Very good, very good. Yeah. So if the living entity adulterates his consciousness in the qualities of cats and dogs, in his next life he gets a cat or dog body and enjoys. Consciousness is originally pure, like water. But if we mix water with certain color, it changes. In the morning, Srila Prabhupada was giving a discourse. We were hearing Prabhupada's lecture today in the class. So Prabhupada talks about that the consciousness is pure. But when it comes into this material world, it is like mixing with colors. So many times we have discussed. The three modes are there. And also, Prabhupada says that the three primary colors are there. So when this mixing is there, 3 into 3 is 9 and 9 into 9 is 81. And in this way it continues to create 8,400,000 species of life. Similarly, consciousness is pure, for the spirit soul is pure. But consciousness is changed according to the association of the material qualities. Karanam guna sangasya. Guna means the modes and sangha means the association. So who can return? One who has overcome this influence of the association of the three modes. Jita sangha doshaha. One who has conquered. Jita. One who has been able to surpass or overcome the dosha coming from the three modes. But who has not been able to do so. So what is his situation? Here it is being explained. That consciousness changes according to the association of the material qualities. Real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. When therefore one is situated in Krishna consciousness, he is in his pure life. But if his pure consciousness is adulterated by some type of material mentality, in the next life he gets a corresponding body. He does not necessarily get a human body again. He can get the body of a cat, dog, hawk, demigod, or any of the many forms, other forms. There are 8,400,000 species. Let me see what is there in the. So you see here, the photograph is shown here, that how the air is carrying the aroma, it is very subtle. So similarly, the living entity, the material world carries a different conception. So it is the mind. The principal reason for our transmigration is the mind, and based upon our mental disposition, based on our mental disposition, which depends on our mental conception, it will be decided which next body we will get. Okay, read this. Someone who has not read, well, come on, at least read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Similarly, we, spirit souls, we all are parts and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, qualitatively, we are one. If God is gold, then I'm also gold. How can I be otherwise? Because I am part and parcel. If God is iron, then I am also iron. This is my position. But as I am carrying different airs by my association with this material nature, I am getting a different body. It is very simple to understand. When this body will be useless for any purpose, then I accept another body. This is called transmigration of the soul. So, for another body that will be created according to the mental situation we made here at the present body, just like the same air passing through rose garden and air passing through the toilet room.
So very important is according to the mental situation that we make here, or to the mental conception that we make here. So that will decide the next body.
Therefore, this human form of the body is especially meant for creating a favorable situation, so that when we pass through this body or we leave this body and we accept another body, we will get exact a body like Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness movement. We are trying to change the consciousness of the people so that this preparation will help him get exactly a body like Krishna in next life. And he may dance with Krishna in Ras dance. This is our propaganda.
So who wants to be the Rasa dancer? Waiting. So if we have our mind and hearts in Prabhupada's purport and we follow what Srila Prabhupada is instructing, so Prabhupada is assuring us that we will be in the spiritual world, we will be in association of Krishna, we will have a body exactly like Krishna, and we can participate with him in his pastime. And the topmost of pastime is Rasa dance. Everyone here wants to participate in Rasa dance. Can you participate? You cannot. Here Prabhupada is officially inviting to come and participate in the Rasa dance. Who can be released? One who is fearful of material existence. So the next verse speaks about that who can see this transmigration and the suffering. Utkramantam stitam vapi bhunjanan va gunanvitam vimudhana nupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakshusha. Utkramantam. It is one who is quitting this body and accepting another body. Titam vapi. And what is he doing? Why is he quitting? Why is he changing this body and accepting the other body? With a desire to bhunjana, the desire to enjoy. But how this transmigration is happening, how this change of body is happening? Is he independent to be able to choose and select what kind of body he will receive when he gives up the existing body? No. It is gunanvitam. That decision is made by the gunas. He is under the spell and he is under the control of the modes of the modes. But vimudha nanupashyanti. But one who is not trained in knowledge, he cannot see it. That how he is quitting the present body and how he is forced to accept another body. Not according to his desires or his aspirations, but according to the influence of the modes of material nature. But one who is situated in knowledge, vimudha nanu pashyanti. The foolish, the ignorant cannot see it. But pashyanti, but who can see? Jnana chakshusha. One whose eyes are trained with knowledge. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body. Nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. He cannot know both the things. Why the living entity quits this body and what is the next body which he will receive. Do we know? Anyone? Elevated soul? What is the next body we will get? No one knows. Yes, Dolamani. Dolamani is trained in knowledge.
If our activities is not Krishna conscious, then definitely we will get a lower species of life.
No, but that is not the answer. What I'm asking is what body we will get? It should be clear what body we will get. Kana?
Prabhuji, I don't know.
Who knows? Prabhupada is speaking in so many purports. What body we will get? I just read
Prabhuji, a corresponding body.
corresponding body according to karma. No one is convinced. There is no conviction. Prabhupada is saying here that he enters into the spiritual kingdom and becomes an associate of the Supreme Lord. He receives the body, we were just reading. He receives the body just as Krishna's body. And he enjoys with Krishna in the rasa dance. But those whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. Vimudha nanu pashyanti. But who is grossly foolish, who is after sense gratification, he cannot see this. So that is why Sanatana Goswami, who could see this. So he inquired from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And why am I suffering? Ke ami kene amar jaya tapat roy. Iha nahi jani, kema nahi to hoy. But we are not asking. We are not awakened to this position. Prabhupada says that Bhagavad Gītā is meant for those who are actually awakened to question as to why they are suffering. That they do not want to suffer, rather they want to make solution to all the sufferings. For such an awakened soul, Prabhupada says in the introduction, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gītā. So unless and until one's eyes are trained with knowledge, that means he has vision. Vision of Shastra, vision of Sadhu, vision of Guru. Then he can see that how the soul is suffering, how he is forced to transmigrate from one body to another body. The word Gyan Chakshusha is very significant. Without knowledge, one cannot understand how a living entity leaves his present body, nor what form of body he is going to take in the next life, nor even why he is living in a particular type of body. So nothing is known, neither the present nor the past, what to speak of future. Everything is unknown, everything is in the dark. This requires great amount of knowledge. Prabhupada is himself mentioning. To be able to see or to be able to know, this requires great amount of knowledge understood from Bhagavad Gītā. And similar literature heard from a bona fide spiritual master. One who is trained to perceive all these things is fortunate. Every living entity is putting the body under certain circumstances. If he is living under certain circumstances and he is enjoying under certain circumstances, under the spell of material nature, as a result, he is suffering different kinds of happiness and distress. This is what Sri Sanatana Goswami could see. The ones whose eyes are trained in knowledge, he can see. But those who are under the illusion of sense enjoyment, persons who are everlastingly fooled by lust and desire, lose all power to understand their change of body and their stay in particular body. Prabhupada is saying those people who are full of desires to enjoy separately from Krishna, for them they will never be able to understand this process or the phenomena. They cannot comprehend it. Those who have developed spiritual knowledge, however, can see that the spirit is different from the body and is changing its body and enjoying in different ways. A person in such knowledge can understand how the conditioned living entity is suffering in this material existence. When we hear, when we read, when we discuss, our mind says, what suffering? He may be suffering, yeah, I am enjoying. And I will give you so many ways how to enjoy in this material world. A person in such knowledge can understand how the conditioned living entity is suffering in this material world. Therefore, those who are highly developed in Krishna consciousness try their best to give this knowledge to the people in general. This is what we have to do. First, we have to get trained, not to remain mudha, but to be jnana chakshusha, to be situated in this knowledge, the knowledge which Krishna is revealing. And then when we receive this knowledge, or we are in the process of receiving this knowledge, we should try to spread this knowledge. Today, Ravinder and Priyanka has not joined because where they have gone, they are conducting a program, a preaching program. They've invited more than 150 people there. Very important that all of us, we receive this knowledge, we try to be trained in this knowledge, have the vision which is directed by Bhagavad Gītā, by Guru Sadhu, Jnana Chakshusha, and then we distribute this knowledge. So Bhagavad Gītā marathon is still not over. Today I spoke with some of the devotees. So Bhagavad Gītā marathon should be eternal. So anything which is happening at the level of soul, it is never pertaining to time, place and circumstance only, which is never limited. Therefore, those who are highly developed in Krishna consciousness try their best to give this knowledge to the people in general, for their conditioned life is very much troublesome. So conditioned life means only trouble. Karshati. Prakriti sthane karshati. They should come out of it. To be Krishna conscious, this is Janma Sarthak. What is Janma Sarthak? Is to be Krishna conscious. And liberate themselves to transfer to the spiritual world. So this chapter, Krishna is giving invitation. Krishna is giving a trailer of what the spiritual world is. And he is defining the process, how to be able to return to the spiritual world. We'll take the last verse in this section, then we have the another section of how Krishna is the maintainer of this entire creation. Yatanto yoginashchenam pashyanti atmani avastitam yatanto api atkritatmano nenam pashyanti achetasa. So Krishna is summarizing that yatanto, yatana, what we say, Madhav Titi Bhakti Janani Yatane Palan Kari. To be situated in Krishna consciousness, what one has to do? He has to make yatan, yatanto. He has to endeavor. Endeavor, effort has to be there. So the endeavoring transcendentalist who was situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. Pashyanti Atmani Avasthita. Because his focus is on the self, Atma. He is Pashyanti, he is able to see. Yatanto api atkritatmano. हाँ डिब्बा डिब्बा है तो उसी में डाल दीजिए नीचे वो टिफिन के बगल में नहीं वो टिफिन के बगल में देखें एक सेकंड So, but those whose minds are not developed, what it means, mind developed and mind not developed? Simple. Mind developed means whose mind is controlled, regulated. And whose mind is undeveloped means whose mind are uncontrolled. Who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to. See, try to see the verse. Yatanto yoginaschaina pashyanti atmani avasthitam. They are also endeavoring. And they are able to see. Why? How are they avasthitam? How are they situated? Atmani. They are endeavoring for self-realization. But those who are yatanto, they are also endeavoring. But they are not Atmani, they are Akritatmano. Those who are not situated, those who are endeavoring for sense gratification. So those who are endeavoring for self-realization, for them there is a possibility they can see how this transmigration is happening, how the body is quitting and taking the other body, and in various ways how he is suffering, and how he can be released from this suffering, how he can make a solution to the suffering. But others, although they are endeavoring, but they are endeavoring in the wrong direction. What are they endeavoring? Api akritatmano. They are endeavoring for sense gratification, not for self-realization. Nenam pashyanti achetasa. They are nenam pashyanti. Nenam means they will never be able to. Pashyanti means see. Why? Because they are achetasa. Achetasa means that they're not properly situated. Why? Because they are always hovering on the mental platform. So the endeavoring transcendentalist who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed, who are not situated in self-realization, cannot see what is taking place, although they may try to. So both are endeavoring. But the basic difference is that one is endeavoring for sense gratification, he will never be able to see this. So Prabhupada talks about it in the purport, that there are many transcendentalists on this path of spiritual self-realization, but one who is not situated in self-realization cannot see how things are changing in the body of the living entity. The word yogina is significant in this connection. In the present day, there are many so-called yogis, and there are many so-called association of yogis, but they are actually blind in the matter of self-realization. In America, when Prabhupada went, there were so many yoga societies. And what does yoga mean? In so-called modern scenario, is how to keep the body fit, or how to keep the body young. But that is not yoga. In the present day, there are so many so-called yogis, and there are many so-called association, the yoga societies of yogis, but they are actually blind in the matter of self-realization. They are simply addicted to some sort of gymnastic exercise and are satisfied if the body is well built and healthy. They have no other information. They are called yatanto api akritatmano. Even though they are endeavoring in a so-called yoga system, they are not self-realized. Such people cannot understand the process of transmigration of the soul. Only those who are actually in the yoga system and have realized the self, the world, Jiva Jagata, and the Supreme Lord is Jagadisha. So these three things, you see, the final 6 chapters is talking about these three. Jiva, how he is entangled in this material modes, that is Jagat, and how both the material world is this Jagat and the Jiva, both are under the control of the Jagadisha. In other words, okay, only those who are actually in the yoga system and have realized the self, the world, and the Supreme Lord, in other words, the bhakti yogis, those engaged in pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness, can understand how things are taking place. Others cannot. Okay, I'll stop here. Now I want to finish off so that we can wind up in time. Let us try to start in time and finish in time. It's a very, very important section Krishna is discussing with Arjuna. This section of transmigration. So what is the main reason for transmigration? What is the mukhya karan? देवाशीष आप सुन रहे हैं? The main reason for transmigration. Why one has to quit this body and one is forced to take another body. And one is not aware, one does not have any clue what kind of body he takes after giving up this body. Why only 1 or 2 people have to answer? Others, they remain silent. They think they'll let others try. One, two, three. Ganesh, why you don't know the answer? Or you think you are too, advanced not to speak?
No, Prabhuji, I was waiting for Devashish Prabhu to answer. So that's why.
I think he's not able to hear.
Prabhuji, the Jiva has minute independency, that we are misusing that independency, because of that we are not able to liberate.
Okay, so we have to transmigrate. And what is the main agent for misuse of the independence?
Prabhuji, the mind it carries the conception. Because of the subtle body carries the conception to another body, so we are transmigrating.
So what it means that the mind carries the conception. It is the mind, the subtle body, which carries the soul. And in principle, what it is the conception. So what we have to do to stop transmigration?
Prabhuji, our samskar, that vasana, we have to spiritualize. Our conception has to be spiritualized by, we have to train our in spiritual knowledge, Prabhuji. Right? Spiritual knowledge we have.
Yeah. So the transmigration is happening because of the conception. The mind is carrying the soul in different body according to its conception. So to stop the transmigration, what we have to do? Ms. Kana, are you clear now? What we are discussing? Yeah, don't play with your mic. If you know, you answer. Are you hearing or not?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm hearing, but I didn't understand transmigration meaning.
You didn't understand transmigration?
Meaning.
Transmigration means to give up one body and to be forced to take the other body. Migrate means what? To leave from one place and go to another place. So what the soul is doing? It is leaving one body and taking up another body. You're not hearing attentively. We've been discussing since yesterday the transmigration, and now you are asking that I did not understand transmigration. Be more attentive. Yes, Pranav?
Yes, Prabhuji, transmigration happened due to our desire for enjoyment, sense gratification. So we have to change our conception, and we should not misuse our little independence.
If the
Engage in
conception is
peaceful
the
process.
same, I understand. See, the desire will be according to the conception. We have discussed it so many times. From the second chapter, Krishna gives this very clear comprehension that desire does not, spring up from anywhere, but it is based on certain conceptions. And that is why it is different with every individual. So as you said that we are transmigrating because of our desires, and desires are based on conceptions, and according to the conceptions, we have to quit the present body and accept the other body. So what we have to change? We have to change the conception. That is the purpose of Krishna speaking the Bhagavad Gītā. This is what Arjuna did. He changed his conception. Previously, he was thinking that if I kill my grandfather Bhishma and my Guru Drona, how can I enjoy? Shunyayitam jagat sarvam. Bhishma Drona virihernave. So similarly, we are also very stubborn. We are also stick with our own conception. We don't want to change. We don't want to let go of our conception. And where this conception is coming? Based on our previous lives, based on our fruitive activities. So if we don't change the conception, then we have to transmigrate. Very powerful section Krishna is speaking here. What did you understand, Kana? Anyway, whoever is hearing, I am speaking, and at least I am speaking for myself. At least it has to register in my heart. Very clear, this section is clearly speaking that if we don't change our conception, then we continue to transmigrate. Okay, so I'll stop here. Any question or any discussion? Yes, Sonika.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. My question is from previous class actually. As you mentioned that spiritual world is the land of no return, but
Yes.
we already came from the spiritual world only. We fall down from there only.
See, the independence and the individuality of the soul is never compromised. Yes, the jiva is in the spiritual world, but the individuality and the independence is always there. Like we are all citizens of the country. We are free to do and act whatever we desire, isn't it? But those who act against the law, those who act criminally, they are sent to jail. Isn't it? Not everyone is sent to jail.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So one who is civilized, one who is gentle, if he goes to jail once, will he want to go again to the jail to suffer?
No, Prabhuji. No, he won't, Prabhuji.
What he will do, he will take all cautions, he will take all precautions, he will abide by the law, so that he does not end up in a situation where he has to be in the same situation where he has to suffer. So similarly, once we have misused our independence and we have come here, and after having come here, when we have suffered so much, when we have seen that this place is only a place of suffering, and where we were in such bliss, in such enjoyment, we were so foolish that we rejected that or gave it up. So after suffering here so much, when we return, then we will not aspire to come back here again. That is why it is called the land of no returns. Back home, back to Godhead. But that does not mean that we can never come back. Still, Krishna never forfeits our independence. Like a person who has been to jail, and when he comes out, it is always possible that he can go back. But for a gentle person, what is expected? That he will never go back. Are you hearing?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Because this is a place of suffering. This is what Acharya, but only whose consciousness is developed can see the suffering. That is why Prabhupada started one purport by saying that those whose consciousness are like cats and dogs. Which verse was this? We started today's discussion with that verse.
Yeah, ninth verse.
9th verse. When the living entity adulterates his consciousness with the qualities of cats and dogs, in the next life he gets a cat or a dog body and enjoys. Prabhupada is not saying he suffers, he enjoys. Some will read this statement and said, okay. Once Prabhupada was speaking, it was in America. So Prabhupada was saying that if one has a desire to enjoy sex unlimitedly, so in the next body he will get a dog's body. So one hippie raised his hand and Prabhupada asked, yes. And he said, Swamiji, what is wrong with the dog's body? I can enjoy unrestrictedly. So Prabhupada said, yes, you have all my blessings. Why? Because the consciousness is so polluted, is so degraded, that they cannot understand the suffering. They cannot see how they are suffering. So Bhagavad Gītā, this process of Krishna consciousness is to elevate our consciousness to be able to see that we are suffering. And when we can see that we are really suffering, then there will be the desire or aspiration to be relieved from here, from the suffering state. Like the cats and dogs, can they perceive, can they feel that they are suffering? No, they are enjoying. They are thinking they are enjoying. But we know that the cats and dog cannot enjoy, they are suffering. Similarly, when our consciousness becomes elevated, then we can see that the soul is not meant to suffer like this. Why is he suffering in the cycle of birth and death? Then there is no question of coming back here. Prabhupada gives one more example. Prabhupada's son, he was enjoying with the fan, with the table fan. The table fan moves. What he was doing, he was trying to put his finger on the blades of the moving table fan. And he was enjoying it. Prabhupada told him not to do that, your finger will get cut. But he did not hear. So Prabhupada allowed him. And it happened. One of the blade, struck his finger and it got cut. So after some days, when the fan was working, Prabhupada told his son that, why don't you play with the fan again? Put your finger on the blade. But the son was refusing. So Prabhupada held his finger and pushed, and he withdrew back. Why? Because now he has the experience. He has the realization that if he plays with the blade of the moving blade of the fan, his finger will get cut. So similarly, when our consciousness is elevated, when we have realized that human life is not meant to rot like this, then there is no question of coming back here. That is why Prabhupada has given these books, this process of Krishna consciousness, Krishna thing, is mainly to elevate our consciousness, to be able to see. That is why Krishna is saying, Vimudhan anupashyanti. But those whose consciousness is contaminated by lust, Prabhupada says that here, this very purport, who are everlastingly fooled by lust. Yeah. Persons who are everlastingly fooled by lust and desire lose all power to understand their change of body and they stay in a particular body. They cannot comprehend it. And those who have developed spiritual knowledge, however, they can see the spirit soul indifferent from the body and changing its bonding and enjoying in different ways. And then Prabhupada says a person in such knowledge can understand how the conditioned living entity is suffering in this material existence. Can we feel that we are suffering in this material existence? To some extent we are feeling because of the cold. Are we suffering or we are enjoying? Suffering. If there is no geyser water, we will not take bath. You're suffering with three tap. Three with a tap. So who will come here to suffer? Tell me. Are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. But consciousness has to be elevated. Consciousness has to become pure. The contamination has to be removed. And where is the contamination coming? From the influence of the three modes. Asatsam. So as we become pure, as we become developed in Krishna consciousness, we can see the suffering state. And then we have real desire to be out of this material world. One who is begging, one who is crying, and one is calling for Krishna to release him from this material world. So why he will come back? To suffer here. Does it make some sense? That is why Prabhupada is appealing. You see, Prabhupada's purport. Prabhupada understands our psyche, our mental situation. That is why he is appealing. You see, the purport, it is exactly explaining this phenomena. Prabhupada is saying, therefore, those who are highly developed in Krishna consciousness, not anyone and everyone, highly developed in Krishna consciousness, try their best to give this knowledge to the people in general, for the conditioned life is very much troublesome. They should come out of it and be Krishna conscious and liberate themselves to transfer to the spiritual world. But the problem is one has to be highly developed. So how to become highly developed is to accept the process wholeheartedly. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So keep reading, keep hearing, keep writing, keep sharing. What does it mean? It is changing the conception. Changing the conception means we are changing our karma. Very clear. Karma, is it easy to change? Impossible. But how it can be changed? As the conception changes. As the conception changes. I was speaking to one student. He has been my student for many years. But the problem with him is the same. Somehow I was speaking to him, I told him, "Aate ho Mayapur?" Same conception came. Ye samasya hai, wo samasya hai, phlana samasya hai, dimaga. Very difficult to come. Never be able to come. But you see the enthusiasm of devotees from Odisha. I am very amazed. Kuber confirmed 16 tickets to me today. That there are 16 people coming. If our own conception, our own perception, we will try, it will never work. The spiritual world is there. The Supreme Lord is there. We are lacking faith. We do not have the right conception. We do not have the conviction. But how to receive it? To be with those who have it. But we don't want to be in that association also. Then what to do? Then remain where you are and rot. But that is not compassion. If Prabhupada would have thought like this, then we would have never got the opportunity. So when the jiva, his consciousness is elevated, he will never ever come back. Because right now our conception is this material world is a place for enjoyment. This material body is the means for enjoyment. So we are trying to adjust. We are trying to make plans and arrangements and have some proposals or accept some proposals how I can enjoy in this material world. Krishna is speaking, this is Dukhalyam Ashashvata. But our mind is not accepting it. It is outrightly rejecting. He said, it may be Dukhalyam for Krishna, but it is Sukhalyam for me. I will enjoy here. I can enjoy here. And we are attempting. That is why, that is why it is avyayam. For non-devotee, this material existence is Ashvatam Prahur Avyayam. He cannot be released. He will have to stay here. He has to transmigrate. He is moving in the branches up and down. But for a non-devotee, it is the avyayam. For a devotee, it does not exist. Because after leaving here, he will never ever come back again. Okay, I'll stop here. It's exactly reaching 9. I don't want to go beyond 9. But thank you, Sonika, for participating. At least I'm very pleased that you are participating. Most of them are dormant. The mind is dull, intelligence is completely covered, and on top of that, they don't want to participate also. Then how to help them? At least few of you are participating. Keep hearing, keep reading, keep writing. This is what we are telling Krishna, that rewrite our conception, change the default settings. Please don't allow the same conception to prevail. You should pray. You should pray to Krishna. That is what this prayer is for the spiritual master. Om Ajnana Timirhandasya. We are born in the darkness of ignorance. Jnananjana Shalakaya. Chakshu Nun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri. There Krishna is speaking the same thing. 10th verse is very, very important verse. Vimudhananu Pashyanti. Pashyanti Jnana Chakshusha. So we have to be trained in this knowledge. Jnana Chakshusha. Chakshurun militam yena. So who will provide that jnana chakshu? Krishna told Arjuna in the 11th chapter, Devyam dadami te chakshu. Chakshudan dilo ye janme janme prabhu se. Divya gyan hidaya prakashita. It will not come out automatically or on its own. We have to make endeavor which is backed with our sincere prayers. Then gradually it will change and we can see. And as we see and as we realize, then there is no question of coming back. But those who have no realization, this is what the verse is. Exactly this is what the verse is. 11th verse. That those who are endeavoring for self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to. It is exactly what Krishna is speaking. Okay, I'll stop here. It is getting late. Thank you for asking this question. At least some hammering or some drilling is there in our consciousness. So many times we have to remind every day. We have to remind morning, evening. Because the default setting is very, very prominent. Again and again it comes to the same setting. So every time we have to go and change the setting. How to change the setting? Through sadhu, shastra and guru. So keep changing, keep changing. So one day it will change forever. Then the fault will be over. And then we can proceed. When can we be released from this material existence? Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gītā ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, उपस्थित सभी भक्तवृंद की जय। Thank God, Prema.